You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.
Here we are again with Dr. Nila Sethi Young, Polished Woman. Yay! That was a good show.
That was really good.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
She's very strong.
She is so strong. You guys have to watch that show. It's unbelievable.
I cannot believe like how she survived and found courage from all of those pain and trials that
Yes.
she had in her life. Oh my gosh.
Daughter with cancer, cheating husband,
Yeah.
all of it. You know,
all of
teen,
it.
teen,
And without a job.
and without a job.
Jobless. Oh my gosh.
Yep, because she was committed to her family.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, for
So.
today, go into any bookstore or library, or and you're likely going to see at least a few books on parenting. These books cover everything from what type of food your kids should be eating to what kind of stress your kids may be facing at school. They can be helpful, but for anyone who has kids at home, especially teenagers, you know that there's no one way to deal with them. And sometimes you just want some basic insight on how to connect with them without needing to read a whole book. But of course, you still need to read.
Yeah.
Right? First, Dr. Nila, can you please tell our listeners a little about like how long you've been practicing and where you're currently practicing?
Yes, so I graduated from med school in 2003.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my MD. I graduated from residency in 2006. I've been in private practice, just general private pediatric practice since 2006. I currently work in Valencia, California. One of the best places on earth, I think.
Awesome town.
Awesome town. And I've been there coming on 9 years.
Wow.
I know.
And I've been talking to her, by the way, because she's amazing. Okay.
Oh my gosh,
like,
thank
I
you.
don't know how she can like detect right away if there's something wrong with the kid. Sometimes they would be even, no, she's okay. No. There is something wrong. Like, she would tell me, like, sometimes how she can just detect right away that there's something wrong with a kid. So nowadays, the problem of all of us moms are our teenagers.
Yeah.
The whole
Teens are so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard, and especially with the whole social media nowadays. There's so many bullying from the social media.
Yep.
There's so many suicidal that's happening because of the social media, and not even just for teenagers, but
No.
for even for adults. But
Even adults.
now it's really affecting a lot of teenagers.
It is.
Yeah. So what? Okay, I want you just to explain how can you prevent them from doing the social media, or do you prevent them from? Okay, you can't, because everyone is doing it, and they get
It's
jealous
true.
if you don't allow them.
You have to trust your maternal and paternal instinct. I think the longer that you can hold off on social media, the better. And I'll repeat that: the longer that you can hold off, the better.
Yes.
And I think that's really an important topic. I mean, you're not there to be friends and to please your child. You're there to be an authoritative figure and to know what's best for them for the long term. I think once you start, you never stop. That's one of the things about social media, is that it sucks you in, and it's driven and written to pull people in. And that's why it's a $1 billion industry. So you have to remember that once you give your kid that green light, it's very difficult to take it back. So I tell parents, the longest possible that you can wait.
Do you think that what age should a kid or a teenager get a cell phone, like own a cell phone? I know, right?
gosh.
That's a lot of that's always like
I was
a
just gonna
question.
say, I mean, I think a cell phone without social media and a cell phone with social media is a very different topic. So cell phone without social media, I think high school is a reasonable time to give a child a cell phone without social media.
Okay.
Because I think you want to know where they are, the drop off,
I
the
know.
pickup, the
Yeah.
logistics of it. I think just for your own comfort, I think it's important to have that connection. Cell phone with social media, I think the longer the better. Most parents are going to scream at me for saying this, but I think after high school is better.
Yeah.
I do. I don't think that's realistic, and I will be the first to admit that. But the longer the better. Their brains are still developing all the way to 18 years old.
Yeah.
And what parents don't understand is their brains can be affected by their behaviors, and social media affects their brains. And as much as they feel like they're an adult and they act like an adult and they think that you don't know anything, they are still developing just as they were doing under 1. Their brains are still developing all the way up to 18. And the things that they're seeing can negatively affect them for the long run. So I think the longer the better. I certainly don't think junior high is the right place for it. I know that would upset people, but I don't think 12 and 13 and 14 is the right place. I think junior high is already stressful.
See?
I
know.
Junior high is a hard time. I think everybody's hitting puberty. I think there's a lot of bullying. I think patients are very self-conscious about their body changes, and they're having hormone changes. And I think the more that they can compare themselves to other people and make themselves feel bad about themselves, the worse it gets. So I don't believe that there is a place for social media or cell phones in junior high.
And kids, don't believe, if there are any teenagers watching this right now, don't believe that everything that you see on social media, that they look so pretty without acne, without like scar, without nothing. This is all bullshit, because they do have acne. Every teenager has acne. Yeah, we saw them last night.
Yeah, exactly.
And
This is a great product called Dokie Watch.
Dokie Watch?
Yeah, and it's for, you'll look it up.
Wait, someone's like, hold on.
For parents who don't want to give their kids a cell phone but still stay in touch with their kids.
Ooh.
And it's a smartwatch for like only you can call mom and dad.
And I think that's a great idea. I do.
So it's called Dokie Watch? Okay, so for parents who doesn't want your children or teenagers to be in social media, there's a thing called Dokie Watch.
And I think that's helpful. I mean, because it allows you to keep in touch with your teens, but not open up their world to a whole idea of social media. And Jess brings up this great point, which is the main issue is, well, there's multiple, but one of the big issues is comparison, right? When you live in a world, let's say you're 12 or 13 and you've just started your period and you're obviously super self-conscious, and then you break out with acne, and then you need braces, and then a lot of times you need glasses, and you know, and then you look on your phone and you see this other teenager that is perfect with perfectly blown out hair and perfect skin, and you know, wearing that Gucci belt and wearing those high heels, and out at parties, and it looks so glamorous. And you know, those teens think, I want that, I want to be that, and I'll never be that. And guess what? Instead of having that positive voice which raises them up, they start with the negative voice. And the earlier you start with that negative voice.
You had that when you were teenager, that you had self-doubt about yourself as well, right?
For sure. I mean, I had glasses, I had braces, I was, you know, back then it was not cool to be Indian, let me tell you. People were not complimenting me on my skin tone like they are when I'm 40, you know, and you know, it was a hard time. And
look at her, she's so beautiful and sassy.
That's what happens 20 years later. If I could only tell my 13-year-old self that. But you know, I was self-conscious, and I was a nervous person, and I had a lot of social anxiety, and you know, it was hard enough without social media. And had I had social media then, gosh, I mean, I remember reading Vogue and Marie Claire and 17 and feeling self-conscious, and that lasted for all of 36 seconds. We would read the magazine cover to cover and be done, and then we'd move on. And this is all day, every day. The thing about social media is it does not stop. So if you feel compelled to give your kids social media young, you got to control that. And I repeat, you need to control that. If you think that you want to give them a phone, fine, they can have it for an hour a day, or they can have it for moments, but they can't have it all the time.
What is that, Max? Max said if he ever will have a kid, I will have a curfew. I will only have a certain amount, certain hours where they can use the phone or social media, and then that's it.
No internet in the house.
Yes, exactly. Well, and I have a family who I love, and they have a social media island, and so their island in their kitchen, they are allowed to be on social media if they are sitting in the island in the kitchen after their homework is done.
Oh, I love that.
So there's no secret anything, and the mom, and that is true for the mom and dad. The mom and dad have to do that too. So when everybody's sitting together, mom, guess what? She can peer over the shoulder. What's going on? It sparks a conversation. What are you seeing? What are you looking at? Versus hiding in your room and scrolling.
And then whole day, that's what you do.
And then they get that negative voice. And the problem is they're not very communicative at that age.
Exactly.
So guess what? Then you have a negative voice with someone that's going through body changes, that already has self-doubt, and now they're not talking to you. And that makes for a very dark vortex of...
How do you maintain that communication? It's pretty hard. Because I had 3 kids and 3 teenagers. It's very hard. I think they start around age 12, 13 that they start... How is school? Good.
Fine.
They give you one word. That's it. Fine.
Yes. Good.
What else? Can you tell me what happened? What else happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Eye
How
roll.
do you push that communication? That I mean,
you know, it's like one of these, like there's this old Indian proverb, like if you can't get in through the front door, you go through the back door. If you can't get in the back door, you like go through the roof. If you can't go through the roof, you drill a hole. Like you have to be that person, right? Like you have to be that mother. Would you give up on your child if they gave you one word answers? Absolutely not. If they had a fever for 5 days, would you just not take them to the doctor? No.
Yeah.
So you try harder. What I have to do, and my daughter's even 9, but I have to say, okay, how was your day? Fine. Okay, what'd you do? Nothing. Okay, well, who'd you sit next to at lunch? Open-ended conversation, you know. Oh, I sat next to her. Well, what'd she have for lunch? What'd you have for lunch? You know, what'd you guys talk about? Who is she friends with? You know, this is the other thing. Who is she friends with? And a lot of times if you ask, and you don't ask about them, but I'll say, like, for example, Molly has this, you know, dramatic friend in class. And so that's always my pinpoint person, because I know that girl's always going to have something dramatic. So let's call her Rachel. I'm like, oh, tell me about Rachel today. You know, because Rachel's going to have some dramatic thing. And it leads to other discussions. And so even if you can just say, hey, if there's someone else and you start talking about that person negatively or positively, it doesn't matter. You just bring up a conversation that doesn't have to do with them. It inevitably opens up conversation.
I know.
But the main thing is that parents are tired themselves, and we're stressed ourselves. And guess what? We're obsessed with social media ourselves. We're obsessed with our phone.
I know, that's
so
true.
We're like scrolling through our phone, and if they say fine, we're like, oh, they're fine. And we take it for, you know, what it is, and that's absolutely not true. You have to put your phone down. You got to put your glass of wine down. You got to, you know, and you've got to start talking to them.
I think for me, because I think Molly's still very young. But for me, I have a teenager.
Yes.
She's 15. Her social media is connected to mine, so I see everything. Who what do you call that? Sends her messages, sends her whatever. So I think you should, if you want your kids to be on social media, I think you should have. What do you call that? The copy, not what do you call it, the copy or something. You should be able to.
That brings up a great point.
Yeah.
If you're going to give your
question.
yes
From at Jessica Bonavach. Someone wants to know: was it easier to raise your first daughter or your second daughter because there's such an age difference?
Oh, it was easier to raise the last daughter, because the first daughter you're just starting to to learn how to be a mom to teenagers. But this time, I how do I say this? I was not like there because I was working like 100%, but I was like, oh, I was very strict actually with my first daughter. That I think on her when she turned 18, I'm like, bye, because I was so strict. I was really strict. So with this one, I kind of know how to balance it now, and I'm more of like when I talk to her, I'm like a friend. I go through, hey, so what's happening to the boys? I become like one of her, friends first. I start with that, and then and then we do the whole conversation, and then I talk after that, after the whole happy whatever moments with her. Then so then how's school? Then how's that's when I
smart
go to the real life issues. That's how I do it, and it's actually very hard because you have to constantly talk to them. You cannot like have any day that you can't
you
not
can never
talk to them.
turn off
Never.
as a mother.
Never. So so do you think there's so many suicidal, like what happened to to Mona Lisa last week? Why do you think that is happening nowadays to all these teenagers? I
think there's a lot of comparison, and I think that when it comes, think about bullying too. Okay, so let's say you're 13 years old and you're being bullied at school. Okay, well, at least when you get home, there's a safe place for you, and at least when you are home on the weekends, there's a safe place for you. Now, because there's this social media platform and cyberbullying, you're never away from it. So guess what? You get home and you go on there, and they're like, hey, pimple face, or they make fun of them for being gay. They make fun of them for being, trans. They make fun of them for being brown or black or white or having curly hair or having acne, and you never get away from it. And so there's never a safe place or a break. Now, the other thing is let's say you are 13 and all your friends go out, like in the days that we were kids, and all your friends go out and you weren't invited. Well, guess what? If you didn't have social media, you wouldn't flip a no, and you wouldn't care. And what you didn't know didn't hurt you.
Yeah.
Now, guess what? You're with your parents, and you didn't get the invite, and all your friends are out seeing a movie, and they're all at the mall, and they're tweeting it, and they're on Snapchat, and they've all the cute filters.
That's so true, by the way.
And it kills your spirit. And then you get the FOMO, and then you get the why didn't they involve me, and why didn't they include me? And so it's just that you never have a break. And teens need a break.
Even as a parent, we get we get, wait, why didn't they invite my daughter or my son? We get, we get
Totally.
so sad. We get,
Absolutely.
what the heck? Why is that?
You do.
A Twitter question
Yeah.
about the father who slapped the bully of his child. What do you think of that?
Yeah, what do you think
I
of
mean,
that?
I think that I get it. I get it. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do because, of course, communication is always better than anything violent. But let me tell you, if someone messed with my kids, you don't even want to see it. You don't even want to know what would happen. I mean, you think Mama Bear, where did Mama Bear come from? What do Mama Bears do? I mean, they slit throats.
Yeah.
They are savage. They don't say Mama Kitten. They say Mama Bear. And you don't want to see Mama Bear. You don't want to see these claws, honey. Okay, you don't.
Hey,
you don't.
We're Asians.
Because we got fiery personalities. And let me tell you, no one pisses off. There is no one worse to piss off than a mother when you mess with their baby. And a father when you mess with their baby. And no matter what age they are, they're always their baby. So I get that. But yeah, you're right. It's all about just healthy communication and talking to teens. And I think it's really important to talk about warning signs too.
But you told me about your story as well when you were young, right? Like your mom, you were open to your mom.
Yes.
And say, Mom, I think I need glasses. Or I think I need
contact lenses.
Or Mom, I think I need this. So I think, tell them about that. Because I was like, when you told me about it, it's like, wow, you were so open to your mom. And your mom did everything for you to make you feel, comfortable about yourself or, beautiful about yourself, right?
I think like being a mother and being a father, you have to let your kids self-express. And this is something that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
If you can have your child see their light and live their truth and find that light, it doesn't matter if they want curly hair or straight hair or they want to, dress goth and they want pierce, whatever it is that they feel is their true self, not because they want to fit in, not because they want to compete, but really just to make them feel like they can express themselves. I think that will help. Like, for example,
support them.
Yeah, I mean, I was really self-conscious of my glasses, and then I got contacts, and it really made a difference. And I had the craziest unibrow, kids. I mean, you don't even want to know. Like, that thing went right, left, up, down. It had a life of its own. It had a zip code. I mean, it was funky. And, my mom started taking me to get those threaded, and that was dramatically different. And granted, I probably, if I looked at pictures, didn't even look that different, but internally I felt more confident. And the more confident that you can make your teen, the better they do.
Okay.
The better they do, and I tell, like, there are moms that are like, oh, I hate the way my kid dresses, and he wants to wear flannels, and he wants to wear black jeans, and
so
I'm like,
you mean support them for whatever,
Yeah,
outfit.
who
But how if
cares?
you kind of like want to advise them that, hey, maybe this would look good on you. So maybe
Yes.
say it in a very subtle or maybe
Yes.
friendly way.
yeah, or I tell
right?
parents like, oh, okay, your daughter, you don't like that your daughter, wants to dress in men's clothing, because she wants to be, a tomboy or whatever. Well, guess what? You tell her, hey, I'll try one thing on that I want to pick, and just give it a go or see, compromise.
Yeah.
So that they will do something for you and you do something for them.
Now, this is a very sensitive issue. How, like, I'm very open with my daughter about the whole sexual thing.
Yes.
How do you open that up with your teenager? Or do you wait for them to
No.
approach you?
No.
Or do you, like, as a mom, talk about it
Yes.
with them and, hey,
Yep.
this is precautions, just,
Yes.
just in case. Do you, okay.
You
will
have to go there. You have to
Yeah.
take the bull by its horns, because let me tell you, there is no 13-year-old that's going to come to you and say, hey, Mom, knock, knock, what's a blowjob? It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm telling
that's
you,
so
it's not
true.
going to happen.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to give them information so that they're making wise decisions. And just as you talk to them about strangers when they were younger, you didn't expect someone else to talk to them about strangers. You didn't
that's
talk,
right.
You didn't expect them to.
Yeah,
It's
when
no
they were
different.
little, you would talk to them. Never talk to strangers.
Cross the
stranger
street,
danger,
look both
yeah.
ways before you cross the street.
Yeah,
I mean, think
that's
of all the
so
safety
true.
precautions that you give to them from 0 to 13 years old. Why all of a sudden at 13, just because it has to do with sex, that you then suddenly shut down and you're like, oh, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
not going to figure it out. It's your job to give them information. And let me tell you, even if they don't respond and even if they're not seemingly engaged, they are engaged and they're listening. They
And they will
listen to
say, no,
everything.
they will say, ew, why are you talking about this?
I know. It's so gross, Mom. You're so disgusting.
I know.
It's so true.
But it's true.
It is true.
I had a son. I had to buy condoms for him, and he was like, I cannot believe you just did this. I cannot believe you're giving this to me in front of my girlfriend. I said, duh.
Yeah.
You're 14 years old. I think you're gonna have sex. So if and you're in the room all the time, better. I know I got pregnant at age 17.
Yes.
I don't want them to get pregnant early,
Right.
just because I was born in a very strict, environment that didn't know anything. Nobody taught me.
Right.
So then again, as soon as I went out of school,
Yes.
I had sex and got pregnant.
And got
so
pregnant.
be there for
And
them.
don't think that doesn't still
Yeah.
happen, honey. It still happens. You should see what
Yeah.
I see in my clinic when people are coming in. I go there in the clinic. When they come in for teen visits, I pull the parents from the room and I'm like, are you having sex? Do you do drugs? Do you vape?
Yeah.
I go there because the thing is they're less likely to lie to a doctor because they're scared. And second of all, I only get 15 minutes with them once a year, and that is my time to make changes. You would be surprised the things I hear. They don't know. They're having sex, but they literally don't know the difference between a vagina and a urethra. There are girls out there that don't know they have 2 holes for pee and for sex. They don't know that.
What?
But yet they're having sex. There are kids that don't understand about birth control. They don't understand about condoms. They don't understand basic human anatomy because their parents didn't explain it to them. And, for example, we'll tell them, okay, well, you can use a condom, but that doesn't prevent every single, it's not 100% effective. And you can be on the pill, but that doesn't prevent STDs.
Yes, that's
You
true.
have to do both. It's not just about not getting pregnant. You don't want to get them to get HIV or warts or HSV or
That's so
any of
true.
these things. You have to protect them for their lifetime and tell them everything.
And there's this thing called mono. that
Mono?
when- yeah. You
That's
can't
just from kissing.
Yeah, you can't just kiss anybody.
No.
You can't, yeah.
You don't want to kiss a dirty boy in school, let me tell you.
That is like insane. I don't want to do that.
No.
Well, you mentioned vaping.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Vaping.
what is how is that? Is that I mean that's bad for them as well,
It's
right?
so bad, you
But they're
guys.
saying, oh, instead of like smoking, I'd rather do this. What's
Yep.
the difference? I mean,
So vaping it contains nicotine instead of marijuana. It's flavored a lot of times, and so a lot of it's manufactured and marketed towards teenagers because it comes in fun flavors and it's portable, and they think, oh well, it can't be that bad for me. What they don't realize is it's not regulated. There's been studies to suggest that there's heavy metals and formaldehyde, things that cause long-term damage to their brain, to their lungs. Some studies that I even read that can affect sterility, and their ability to have kids later in life. I mean, this is serious.
what?
They can blow up in your
Yeah.
face.
Yep. They can blow up. They
Wow.
can explode.
No.
And we don't have the long-term data.
Yeah.
And what I tell teens is anything that you can buy at 7-Eleven and light up is not going to be healthy for your body. Let me tell you. And then the bigger picture is it is addicting. Nicotine's addicting, and they think,
I thought the vapes doesn't have nicotine.
yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah, not all of them, but some do.
That's still bad for your lungs, you guys.
It's horrible, and it's
Yeah.
it's addicting. And teens, like we said, their brains are still developing, and when they get that buzz,
Yeah.
they crave more. And guess what? Eventually the vapes start working and they move to pot, and then, that can also be damaging for them. And over the course of the long run, they chase that high. They're always chasing that high. So
Oh, I'm worried about cell phones and vaping. I feel like these are like the things that somehow triggers you to depression.
Yep. I agree.
I don't know, emotional stability. I don't know. I think these are like I don't know. These are like things that we should be careful with, because we had cell phone how many years ago?
right.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
We don't know the side effect of using the cell phone.
No.
We don't know the side effect of all this vaping right now, because it's only been, 3 years or 4 years
Yeah.
that we started vaping. So just be careful, you know.
You got to protect your body. You only get one body, you guys.
Yeah.
I tell my teens that you get one chance in this life to protect the body
Yeah.
that you are living in. You screw that up, that's it. It's done.
What do you think about the CBD? That's everywhere you go right now
Yeah.
for sick children.
I think it depends. I mean, for example, like I had, a kiddo with a brain tumor that was super nauseous and did
Yeah.
not eat, and she didn't respond to the typical meds, and they ended up giving her medical marijuana, and it caused a huge uproar. I mean, DCFS was involved, Children's Hospital was involved. It was a
Wow.
huge, crazy thing, but it worked for her. And, it wasn't like she was on it all the time. It worked to make her eat. And I am sorry, but when your kid is vomiting from chemotherapy and radiation, you will try anything.
Anything.
So I think there
Of
are
course.
cases of where it could work in these small little spots that I wouldn't really fight it, but I mean, CBD and you know, these vape pens and marijuana, I don't agree that they're healthy for kids under 18.
Of course,
I just don't.
of course.
Like I said, anything that can affect their brain and their brains are still developing is not healthy.
It's not healthy, I know.
Yeah. And it's not just the health part, it's the addictiveness. It's the fact that it allows them to separate from their problems. And anytime you separate from your problems instead of dealing with your problems, guess what? Those problems are going to come back. And they will come back full force, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or you're sitting in therapy and you're 60 years old talking about your mommy issues that you never dealt with.
What are the 3 things do you think that causes problem in communication with, you know, the parents?
I think
because she normally sees teenager patients, and normally she's the one that would, oh, I think you have this, I think you do this.
Yes.
There's something wrong with you. Like she,
yes.
you know, she knows like every single thing that's happening to them just by looking at the face.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they don't make eye contact, if they're looking away, I would say like the biggest things are, one, distracted parenting. And fear, parenting with fear instead of parenting with confidence. I think the fact that we're distracted and we're stressed and we're overtired and overscheduled, and so we're not paying attention to the things that really matter.
Yeah.
I think slowing down and really spending time as a family, you're going to find out a lot of stuff. I know when we go away for vacation, I find out a lot of things about my kids that I didn't find out before when they get many hours with me where I'm not on my phone and I'm not at work and I'm not answering pages and I'm not with friends. So I think really slowing down in quality time. I think I do think social media, I think that really makes teens very distracted, and I think they're on their phone all the time.
How about TV, television? Do you?
I kind of miss old-fashioned TV.
Right?
I really do. Like, I kind of, if I could snap my finger and take all the phones away and have everyone watch Mr. Belvedere like I did on Friday night, I probably would, because honestly, we're missing that. We're missing like the growing pains and family ties and like just the regular Mr. Rogers. I think there was something really beautiful about regular old TV where we actually had to sit and watch commercials, and we watched as a family, and we didn't have
commercials are fun.
We didn't have 25 options where like, you know, 15 different TVs. You know, we had one TV in our house and we all watched the same thing, and you know, it was
that's
like
so true. Because before we only have one TV.
We had one TV.
And when you watch TV, the whole family is there, and you watch and you eat popcorn.
Yes,
and
we watched
enjoy it.
America's Funniest Home Videos. We watched, you know, Rescue
That's so
911,
true.
and I think now it's like, oh gosh, there's so much on-demand everything. You can get everything you want at your fingertips in a split second. We've got iPads and iPhones, and you know, so I just think that we miss the family bonding. I don't think TV is much of an issue because I just don't think our teens are watching TV, guys. They're on their phone live streaming
because
Netflix.
they watch. I know because
they're on their computers watching TV,
watching TV, watching YouTube, whatever.
Yeah,
they just watch the whole day.
That's it.
They don't. That's why they don't. We don't have what do you call that? The TV time anymore.
No.
Movie time. Yeah. We call it movie nights.
Yeah,
or
movie nights and
something.
Yeah. I think screen time in general is a huge issue.
You
got to get your kids away from the screen, whatever it is. They need to be outside. They need to be playing. They need to be having game night. They need to be playing cards. They need to be with their friends. Even if they're, I mean, I love when I see teens go to like amusement parks and, you know, even if they want to stroll the mall, I'm fine with that. But as long as they're not just sitting by themselves or sitting in their room on the TV.
Take them out. Take them out of the house. Right? Oh, I saw that. I saw you said that. Take them out as much as you can. Don't stay at home. You know, let them like play outside. Let them play with. Have a play date or something. So just then they can be out. Because sometimes, oh my gosh, not sometimes, but nowadays, if you take the kids to dinner, they're all on the phone.
They're on their phone
nonstop. And I'm like,
we don't let our kids anywhere near electronics when it's mealtime. We just don't.
But do you think also the marriage has a lot of has something to do with but being intimate? We talk about this, being intimate with your spouses. Does that help a lot for the children to see that, oh, my parents are doing well, they're happy?
Yes.
You
I
know,
think a
I
solid
think that's-
marriage and a solid foundation, whether, you know, it's mom and dad or mom and mom or dad and dad or wherever it is, I don't care. But I think having a solid foundation and having a parental unit is really helpful for kids. Granted, you know, there are single moms in the world that just kill it, and there are single dads in the world that just kill it. And I think it's just having that solid parent or duo that gives them a baseline and foundation that they can build from. Every kid needs a solid foundation, you guys. They build from that. You're giving them their formidable years, and that's how they learn to have confidence and to be who they want to be. So you have to have that stability.
Do you have any advice before we end? Oh my God, this is too short. Do you have any advice for a parent who is having a problem or struggling with communication with their teenagers, what advice can you give them?
I would say if they're really panicking, seek help from a therapist, and don't feel that that's giving you some sort of social stigma of mental health. If you're worried about your teen, seek help, and I mean it. Like, just go to your pediatrician, go see a therapist, get a psychiatrist involved. Second, don't let fear guide you. Fear never leads you in the right direction. Trust your instinct. If you're scared to talk to your teen, that's when you talk to your teen. Trust your gut instinct. Use fear to make you stronger and say, okay, I'm going to tackle this bull by its horns. I'm scared to do it, but just do it and try over and over and over, and don't give up. You would never give up on your baby. Why would you give up on your teen? No different.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Is there any way they can contact you? Please tell them, or any Instagram or
Yes.
social media that
Follow
you're in, that
me.
they can, send you messages.
Yes,
Yeah.
my
you have a
Instagram,
YouTube too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's at Dr. Neela, DoctorNeela, Dr. Neela.
Yay! For my advice, remember that there's no right way to being a parent, and that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you keep trying to do your best. Also, take the time to teach your children that not everybody will like them, which is why it's important that they learn to like and accept themselves.
Yeah.
And for the mom too, like what you said, let them who they want to be. Don't
Yes.
let them be because of what you want to be. Let them be, and really spend time with your kids, even if they don't know, they don't want to. Have the conversation with them, like be one of them, or be like a friend to them, and not just a mom. Because if you're too mom, they won't be open to you.
Right.
Trust me.
Right.
For the tip of the day, I want you guys. Max gave me this, and my 15-year-old is reading it right now. The Courage to Be Disliked.
Oh,
It's
I love
actually
that.
a very good.
Philosophy.
Yeah,
love
it's written by a philosopher and a student, right?
I love
And
that,
it's
you
a
guys.
Japanese
Disliked.
yeah,
You can find it.
you can find it, but it's Shiro Shimi. It's very nice. My 15-year-old is reading it right now because I said not everyone from your social media or followers will like you. They will send you, but you know what? It's have the courage to be disliked.
Yep.
So
love
thank
that.
you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Give love to the next person that you'll see after watching the show. Thank you.
Yay.
Cheers. Cheers.
You're listening to Polished
listening to
Woman,
myself.
only on LA Talk Radio.